Hello! Thank you for joining me in my geeky little corner of the internet, a fun place to talk about and nerd out about all of our favorite books, movies, pieces of musical theater, our favorite characters, our favorite songs, our favorite stories, all of that fun stuff. And if that sounds cool to you, click that little subscribe button and feel free to join me anytime. I love animation. I really think it is one of the best storytelling mediums we've ever come up with, and the possibilities of stories you can tell with animation are literally limitless. Anything that you can imagine, you can put that on screen and tell a story with it. So you can think of the most epic, grand scale fantasy adventures or the smallest little intimate character moments in the entire spectrum of things in between, and it can all be done in animation. And if you have come to this little corner of the internet, I'm guessing that you're a fan of a particular animation company, a certain kind of animation. Yeah, I'm talking about Disney Animation. They are the industry standard for a reason. Every year they keep pioneering the field of animation and pushing the boundaries further and further and further. But with all of that acclaim and with all of those accolades and with all the name recognition alone of Disney, I still feel like we are undervaluing the work and dedication and acting talent that goes into animation. It's kind of an industry nickname to call animators actors with a pencil, because that's what they are, and we don't really think of it that way. When you think of animated characters like Elsa or Ariel or the Genie, you probably are thinking of the voice talent when you're thinking about the person behind the character. So when you think of Elsa, you're thinking of Idina Menzel. When you're thinking of Ariel, you're thinking of Jodie Benson. When you think of the Genie, you're thinking, of course, of Robin Williams. But no one really thinks about the animators who were also responsible for bringing those characters to life. Animation is unlike any other art form or storytelling medium because it's not just one or the other, it's both coming together to create a character, the voice actor and the animator. A cool little thing about animation is that its root word literally means to bring life to you. So animators are bringing life to characters. So just like a voice actor is in control of how the lines are delivered and the sort of vibe and voice of a character, an animator is responsible for everything else. The way the character looks, the way they move, the way they react to what's going on around them, and making sure that they have a character on the inside. And I think some of the best acting through animation is done in the ultimate Disney classic, Beauty and the Beast. And you don't just have to take my word for it, because the first film ever to be nominated for Best Picture, just flat blank, Best Picture by the Academy of Motion Pictures, by the Oscars, was Beauty and the Beast. Everyone knew how good the acting was in this movie. They could tell that there was depth and emotion and intention behind everything that the characters did. Something I really love about the credits of Beauty and the Beast is how they list the voice actor, the animation director, and all of the animators in one text box. So it really creates this full picture of who's responsible for bringing this character to life. Belle and the Beast are two of my favorite animated characters. Belle was brought to life by the voice of Paige O'Hara and the animation talents of the combined Mark Hinn and James Baxter. Yes, that James Baxter. And the Beast was voiced by Robbie Benson, and then he was animated by the animation icon Glenn Keane. If you know anything about animation, you know what a big deal he is. And I want to take a deep dive into one of the scenes where I think the acting through animation is on full display.
Philippe, what are you doing here? Where's Papa? Where is he, Philippe? What happened? We have to find him. You have to take me to him.
So I don't feel like I have to give you guys a rundown of Beauty and the Beast. It's 30 years old. I'm pretty sure we all know it. I'm pretty sure we all love it. But I'm just gonna tell you where we are in the scene. So, through mysterious and unforeseen circumstances, Belle's father gets captured and imprisoned in the Beast Castle, and Belle is going to look for him. Now, right when the scene starts, we see that Belle is concerned and a little afraid, but it's very different than we would see in a lot of other heroines, especially a lot of other Disney princesses. Yes, she's concerned and a little scared, but there's also this determination and this curiosity. This curiosity is something that I really want to pay attention to because it brings a lot of really great nuance and depth to Belle's character. And the second she sees that hat and knows that this is where her father is, then it's game time. She we really see the determination in her face and that she's a girl on a mission. And again, we see that curiosity. She's starting to put these puzzle pieces together, much like a detective, which creates these amazing layers and really compels us to watch her and see what she's gonna do next. Side note, this has less to do with the acting, but I just love this little scene with Lumiere and Cogsworth. When they're arguing, if you watch closely, you can see Cogsworth's face literally shift into Lumiere's face when he's mocking him. That's something you can only really do in animation. That is why animation is so freaking cool. And now as Belle walks into the castle, there's this great sense of foreboding. The castle seems grand and epic and beautiful, but it's also sinister. It feels like it's swallowing her up. She's very small in the frame, and the castle is just enormous. Through the cinematography, which again, remember, this is animation, so there's no camera. This had to be built from the ground up. So this was all done super intentionally. It's like we're looking down at her, like we're ready to swipe her up. In fact, if you keep watching the scene, she passes the statue and it looks like there's this claw that's just ready to reach out and grab her. And all of this together gives this really eerie and unnerving sense to the scene. And it really heightens the stakes for Belle moving forward.
Papa?
Did you see that? It's a girl.
I know it's a girl.
Don't you see? She's the one. The girl we have been waiting for. She has come to break the spell.
And then this next bit, I think it's just so clever, of Lumiere hopping up this staircase, and Belle thinks that it's someone, and then that's how she goes up to the dungeon to find her father. That's just brilliant. And again, we see all of these layers of emotion with Belle. There is curiosity and this sort of anxiety. She's very anxious. She's on edge. As she should be. This is a creepy castle. But there's also this great curiosity that carries through all of her actions in this scene.
Belle?
Papa!
How did you find me?
Oh, your hands are like ice. We have to get you out of there.
Belle, I want you to leave this place.
Who's done this to you?
No time to explain. You must go, now.
I won't leave you.
And this next sequence where she finds Maurice is another great way of showcasing that she is a three-dimensional character. She's capable of feeling a lot of things at once. She finds her father and there's this relief and this urge to comfort him, but there's also this concern and this anger and this determination of, who's done this to you? We've got to get you out of here. So she's not a stagnant character, even in this instance of achieving what she set out to do. She found her father, now she's on to the next thing of getting him out of here. And you could see the determination in her eyes.
What are you doing here?
Who's there? Who are you?
The master of this castle.
And then we get the Beast. I love the Beast. He's my favorite Disney prince, and I just love his big, explosive entrance in this scene. It's just this growl and this sort of swirl of his fur and his cloak and everything, and then he's plunged into darkness. Up until a very particular moment, the Beast is obscured from frame. He's in shadows, he's out of the light, and he's really hard to see. And after each release of this movie, this effect gets diminished a little bit as the definition just gets higher and higher and higher, which is why I really like watching it on VHS, because the effect works really well in this. You barely can see him. Honestly, I just like watching things on VHS in general, as you could probably tell. So if you still have a working VHS player and a copy of Beauty and the Beast, I'm gonna recommend that you dust it off and pop it in, because it's just a really great way to watch these movies. Another thing I like about cloaking the Beast in shadow is it really highlights his eyes. Glenn Keane was very keen that the thing we would empathize the most with on the Beast would be his eyes, because, you know, they're the window to the soul and everything. So when he's cloaked in shadow like this, his eyes are almost glowing, and it really attracts the eye straight to those piercing blue eyes. But we can also see that there's something underneath all of that ferociousness and all of that cruelty. But the Beast comes in, and this is the first time we really get to see a real sense of panic and genuine fear. Nothing else, just fear in Belle. Because every other time she's been afraid, there have been all of these other emotions mixed in with it. It makes that fear so much more heightened. Because now she's raised the stakes again. Now she's just feeling afraid. So we feel more afraid for her.
I've come for my father. Please, let him out. Can't you see he's sick?
And he shouldn't have trespassed here.
But he could die. Please, I'll do anything.
There's nothing you can do.
But Belle is very quick to get her bearings again, and the place that she comes from is a place of logic and reasoning and resourcefulness. So she tries to reason with the beast. Please let my father out. Can't you see he's sick? He's an old man. He could die. But the beast is coming from a place of power and ferocity and just being this brooding ruler of the castle who doesn't have to bend to anyone else's will. Everyone else bends to his will. So this isn't gonna work for him. They're coming from two tactics that aren't gonna mesh well together. And this is also one of the first times we really see Belle desperate and helpless. And because she has so much strength, and we know this, we've been shown that, it really makes us feel for her so much more, that she's in this pleading, desperate state where she has very few options. It's something that really helps compel us to her character. And the beast is just so full of cruelty and harshness, and his stance, and in his eyes, and in his voice, and everything. So it's really hard to empathize with him in this moment.
Oh, there must be some way I can... Wait! Take me instead.
And this is incredible. Right here, Belle takes a little beat to think about what she's gonna do next. But since this is animation, nothing is subconscious. The animators have to think about everything, so they had to put that beat in there. If this was live action, the actor would have just thought about it instinctually and just done it. But an animator can't do that. They have to draw that frame by frame. So the second she takes, that had to be a very intentional action. And not every animator is gonna take the attention to detail to put that in. And I love this moment too. You can really see the gears turning in her head as she decides what to do next, and if her freedom is worth the safety of her father. James Baxter and Mark Hamm did such an amazing job of making sure that we knew as an audience that there was so much going on inside Belle's head. She had an entire world going on up there. Every action she takes, you can see her having to think about it for a second. And that makes it feel so much more true to life, and it makes it feel so much more grounded, and it makes it feel so much more real.
You would take his place?
Belle, no! You don't know what you're doing!
If I did, would you let him go?
Yes. But you must promise to stay here forever.
Come into the light.
Ooh, this moment I love. The beast turns away, and you see that just really harsh, cruel face, and then you see it soften, and you see this flicker in his eyes, and there's this warmth there, and this gentleness. And this action knocks the beast off of his bearings a little bit. This is when we see the monstrous facade that he likes to put up, like he's totally in control and he's in power. We start to see that slip away a little bit. He has to try to regain the control in this confrontation. He's like, yes, but you must promise to stay here forever. You can see that he is making this up on the spot. He didn't really plan this far ahead. Also, the reactions in this scene are amazing. They're so nuanced and subtle, but you could really tell that they have that what the other person says has a real impact on each of the characters. And this is one of my favorite Belle moments, because you can see that she's not giving a command when she says come into the light. And she's not saying it out of fear or she's not being stubborn. It comes out of this place of curiosity. She wants to know who she's dealing with. She wants to know what this is gonna mean. Again, like a detective, she's trying to put the puzzle pieces together. And this next sequence is amazing. The beast slowly putting his foot into the spotlight. The dolly zoom on Belle's just horrified face. And then that underlighting on the beast to make him look even taller and more humongous and more horrifying. Well done all around. Animation is so awesome. And then I love that Belle has to turn, and she almost is seeking comfort from her father in this moment, which is this really great way of showing that while she's strong, she's not impervious to how this is making her feel.
You have my word.
Done!
Ooh, and this is just a nice shot. Both of them in the spotlight. You could really see how huge the beast is compared to Belle. I could frame that on my wall. I really could. And I love this next moment of Belle's despair where she sinks to the floor, because it's not entirely perfect. It's not super graceful. She hits the floor and then she just sort of topples over a little bit. And I feel like that's another thing that just subtly makes this feel more authentic to life. And this next bit is also great as Belle's reaching out for her father. The beast is dragging him down the corridor. Also, side note, what the heck is this thing? Why do they feel the need to put this in this movie? Why did they have to traumatize all of us like this? Did you guys feel personally victimized by this weird spider carriage thing? I hate it so much.
Master?
What?
Since the girl is going to be with us for quite some time, I was thinking that you might want to offer her a more comfortable room. Then again, maybe not.
And then as the beast is climbing up the staircase, we see the mask go back on. He's back into like his ferocious, power-hungry, stubborn mode. He's even barking at Lumiere, who's only trying to give him some good advice.
You didn't even let me say goodbye. I'll never see him again. And I didn't get to say goodbye.
I'll show you to your room.
My room? But I thought,
You want to stay in the tower?
no.
Then follow me.
And then this next moment is another one of my favorites, because once the beast has to confront the grief that he's caused Belle, we can see the guilt and the sort of embarrassment on his face. It's another moment where that mask falls off and we see the man underneath the beast. But then the mask has to go back on, and he's giving Belle another order. That's where he feels the most empowered, and that's where he feels the most comfortable. This is a scene where neither one of the characters are really in their element. They're both sort of figuring out what the next move is gonna be. And I just love Beast's little, you wanna stay in the tower? It gives him a little bit more of a heart. And something I love about this shot is it still makes the castle feel really grand and enchanted, but it also makes it feel so, eerie and ominous. Everything's sort of pointed inward at Belle. It's like it's trying to consume her. And the angle of this shot, it actually is it's slipping downward, like she's slipping into the abyss.
Say something to her.
I hope you like it here.
And you could really tell that this is not what the beast is comfortable with. He's not used to being the gracious host. He's used to ordering people around and overall just being the worst guy he could possibly be. And I love how much nudging Lumiere has to do to get him to actually start talking to her. And I also love how uncomfortable you could tell he is. Like, this is very much not his playing field. And much like Belle, you could see that there's this inner world going on inside his head. He's having to think of what he's gonna say and sort of weighing like, is this working? Is this not? Am I screwing this up? Probably.
The castle is your home now, so you can go anywhere you like, except the West Wing.
What's in the West?
It's forbidden!
And this is a moment of both the characters stepping back into their power. For Belle, she's in her power when she gets to use her brain and solve a mystery. For the Beast, he's in his power when he gets to give orders and put his foot down and show off his power. So this is a moment of seeing where both of these characters are their most comfortable. And a really cool thing is tracking the story, seeing where they feel most in their power later on. Because it's very different.
Now, if you need anything, my servants will attend you.
Dinner. Invite her to dinner.
You will join me for dinner. That's not a request!
And this next little bit where the Beast is showing her to her room, you could really see that Belle is trying his best to shut him out. And when the Beast is trying to invite her to dinner, he has to think about how he's gonna say it. But the way that he feels like he should say it is in this really cold and cruel, domineering way. But Belle's not responsive to it at all. She's just like, I cannot believe he is trying to talk to me again. And then the Beast slams the door and we get some awesome melodrama of just the damsel in distress sighing and throwing herself on the nearest bit of furniture and just sobbing her little eyes out. I'll admit, this is kind of overacting, but I still love it. And then we pull out of Belle's room through the window and see the snowy landscape of the castle, and the scene ends. Animation is such an awesome art form. But what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you have other parts from this movie or any other animated movie that you think are really good showcases of acting? What are some of your favorite Disney movies? Which Disney movies do you think have the best performances? If you like this ridiculously deep dive into a 5-minute scene of Beauty and the Beast, feel free to give this video a thumbs up and we can continue this conversation in the comments. But that is all I have to say. Until next time, I will see you real soon.